The Ballpark, a place where legends are born, where pitchers throw heat and hitters drop bombs. The home of mud hens, sod poodles, chihuahuas, flying bison, and sea wolves. This is Ballpark Nation, your home for baseball from sea to shining sea. And now your hosts. He couldn't crack the starting lineup of his JV high school baseball team, and she's never met a ballpark wiener she didn't like. Here are Jim Christopher and Alyssia Rivera.
And welcome everybody back to another edition of Ballpark Nation. I'm your host, Jim Christopher. This is
Alyssia Rivera.
And we have a fun episode because we're heading out to West Texas. We're going to go see the Abilene Flying Bison, and I didn't even know those things get off. They're pretty big to get off the ground. And then the Amarillo Sod Poodles.
Would you say we're getting there by morning?
I wouldn't, but apparently you would.
Ballpark Nation presents Chasing Grand Slams, our favorite ballparks from across the country and around the world.
And let's have a little church this morning. Now, an iconic country song of the 90s once boldly proclaimed that God bless Texas. And well, when it comes to the greatest game he ever invented, he certainly did bless Texas with baseball in the great city of Amarillo. Now, Amarillo is not close to any of the major cities in Texas. It takes a lot of time, a lot of patience to get there. But like we said in National Lampoon's Vacation, getting there is half the fun. And driving through West Texas is one of the underrated treasures on the planet. But you need a lot of patience. You need a lot of Buc-ee's. Sometimes it's like a mascot waiting for an elevator that just doesn't want to arrive. But when you get to Amarillo and you arrive at Hodgetown, home of your Amarillo Sod Poodles, you're greeted like your family. Now, Hodgetown is one of the great churches of baseball. A baseball haven in a town that's had baseball as part of its identity for over 100 years. Every part of the baseball experience in Hodgetown is meticulously designed, some of it relying on the natural beauty that comes with living in Texas. The mosaic of the infield with its emerald green grass, painted against the endless Texas sky with white wispy clouds, gives off a feeling of pure zen as we all find our happy place at the ballpark. It really is a stunning sight to behold, an oasis in the middle of West Texas. West Texas really is one of a kind, a special place in America that's often depicted by strength, kindness, and neighbors. And the best part about Hodgetown, home of the Amarillo Sod Poodles, is that it encourages neighbors to become friends and friends to become family, all united by the great game of baseball. Now, the Amarillo Sod Poodles understood what so many teams overlook, that in so many ways the mascot is the front door to your ballpark experience, and the Sod Poodles mascot, Ruckus, certainly brings the ruckus to the ballpark. Dressed in his cowboy boots and his 10-gallon hat, he is quick to greet everybody at the ballpark, be it a player, a fan, a member of the staff, or a wayward baseball traveler like myself. Fan experience is job one for the Sod Poodles, and it begins with how much interaction the players have with members of the city. The Sod Poodles understand that minor league baseball is about the future of the game, and it isn't just about developing players on the field, but they realize that if they give fans a good experience, an experience where they get to meet professional ball players, that will do nothing but grow the game at every level, including the major league level. This is essential not just for the Amarillo Sod Poodles to survive, but for Major League Baseball to survive as well, as competition for the entertainment dollar gets more and more stiff. The Sod Poodles understand this, and they understand their role in community, and you see people of all ages from 6 months to 60 having a great time at the ballpark. Whether it's hanging with friends on the berm, playing catch, playing cornhole, playing in the jungle gym, every single square foot of this ballpark is dedicated to fun. Now, one of the key components for ballpark hunters like myself is really good merch, and the Sod Poodles have designed a brand that has a lot of different identities, a lot of different looks, with one uniting factor. It all looks really good on a hat. God did bless Texas with his own hand by bringing down the Sod Poodles from the promised land. Yes, I'm quoting that song again. But it's the truth. Fans get an up-close experience, not just with baseball, not just with the ball players, but with each other. And what they're building is a lifetime love of the game and a lifetime bond with their friends and family. In a world that grows increasingly segmented and increasingly distracted, any level of connection is truly priceless. For this, in so many ways, the Sod Poodles have become a center of community in Amarillo, a center of community in West Texas, and an example of how baseball can be the center of a community for all of us.
Well, what are you asking me for?
I'm not asking you, I'm telling you. Who is on first?
I'm asking you who's on first.
That's the man's name.
That's whose name?
Yes.
Well, go ahead and tell me.
Who?
The guy on first.
Who?
The first baseman.
Who is on first?
Have you got a first baseman on first?
Certainly.
Then who's playing first?
Absolutely.
Ballpark Nation presents Who's on First? We talk to the people behind the greatest game ever invented.
And we're back here on Ballpark Nation's Who's on First segment, talking to some of our favorite people behind some of our favorite teams in baseball. We're excited to welcome to the show President and General Manager of the Amarillo Sod Poodles, Tony Ensor. I wanted to take Tony back 7 years, back to when the Sod Poodles name was first announced. It wasn't greeted very well. Social media was not happy. And it was just funny to me because it went from being not a very popular brand at first to year in, year out being one of the best-selling brands in all of minor league baseball.
Well, people ask me this all the time, when I'm looking back 7 years earlier, what'd you miss? What did you not do? When you launched this brand, built this stadium. I mean, you have to remember when we got here, we didn't have a place to play. We didn't have a team. We didn't have a team name. We didn't have a logo. We didn't have a brand. We didn't have any staff. So it was a long churn in a very short period of time. I mean, we had to really ramp up. And I look back when someone asked me that a couple months ago, I was like, I can't point to anything that we missed. We had a magical launch, and it was really dedicated to the hard work and professionalism, because in that first year where I love to hire local people, because they know the stadium, they know the brand, they have a real sense of pride in it. But at that time, I had to hire people from all over the country. People from Florida, people from California, people from New York, people from Boston to come in and help me build this thing. People from Reno, from Tennessee. Literally, we had the whole map covered in that first year of people that were dedicated to doing something that you rarely get a chance to do. And that's to build something from scratch. And it was such an amazing journey to go on. And I think where we were most successful is we didn't come into Amarillo saying, hey, we're professional baseball. We know everything. We came in and listened to Amarillo. We did studies. We did focus groups. We found out what they were interested in and what they were passionate about. And our whole organization is based on our fans and our partners and our season ticket holders. That's what we base it on. It's not about us. It's not about Tony Ensor or Zach Robbins, our Director of Public Relations, or anyone else on staff. It's not about our owner. It's about them. And that's every day we come to the ballpark, that's what we're focused on, whether it be promotions, whether it be uniforms, whether it be logos or launching new alternate brands. It's about the community and how we can serve them better. And so I think that's what is the secret sauce, if you would, to our success. Here we are 7 years later, and we're still growing. We still have a lot of things that we want to do and a lot of things we want to accomplish because our fans they're so engaged. They're always letting us know what they want to see. And I think that's cool.
In so many ways, alternate brands, alternate looks are the lifeblood of a minor league baseball team because you're not just selling to your community, but there's an entire group of ballpark collector people out there. Just look around. I'm absolutely one of those guys. But when you start a new team, you really want to establish your brand first. But Amarillo has done such a good job of creating alternate brands that they're selling all over the country. Even John Oliver is talking about them. And I wanted to talk to Tony about that evolution.
It's about my staff. It's about their engagement and how passionate they are about being different, about pushing the envelope, because you can rest on your laurels and say, hey, we had a good year last year. Let's rubber stamp it and let's do it again. Or you can be creative and you can push yourself. And we're constantly pushing ourselves. Our fans are constantly pushing us to come up with something new and something different. And so, yeah, and the Pony Boost was our Copa de la Versión introduction. That's our way of paying homage to our Hispanic culture here in Amarillo, and it's been very successful. Matter of fact, we just went through a rebrand with that and new color schemes and everything this year. But then we came up with the calf fries, and I'll go ahead and tell your audience, because I'm very proud of this brand. Calf fries are the same thing that you would get in Colorado and on the west, in the western region, as Rocky Mountain oysters. They are bull testicles, and it's a delicacy here in the Southwest. Our fans love it. You can get calf fries all over Amarillo, and we just saw that as, again, a way to pay homage to our Texas culture and the West Texas region and the Panhandle. And these are good, just down to earth, shirt off their back kind of people, and they enjoy these things. And part of the reason why teams do the alternate brands is to stay relevant, to engage your fan base. And when we first came here with Sod Poodles, you mentioned this in the opening, that it wasn't very well received. It wasn't. I thought when we first launched Sod Poodles, our community didn't really know anything about minor league baseball. They didn't. They knew that it was professional baseball and it was very serious and all those things. The player stats, the wins, losses, home runs, their careers going up. Those are all extremely serious and very important things. But at the same time, we don't have ESPN or CBS Sports talking about us 24/7, so we have to create our own energy. And we do that through having a good time out here at the ballpark with our brands. I mean, if you think about the people that come out to a Sod Poodle game or any minor league game, probably here, I think it's a higher number, but around 20-30% are hardcore baseball fans. They can look at the pitching stats and go, okay, this guy's ERA is here. He's got this many walks, the wins over replacement, OPS for our hitters, home runs. They know that stuff. So they're taken care of on the field by seeing these amazing athletes, both from the Sod Poodle standpoint and the visiting teams that come in, Dodgers or Mariners or Rangers, whomever's coming in. So they're taken care of by the amazing play on the field and those athletes. But the other 70-80% of fans are coming here just because they want to enjoy a night out. They want to have a good time with their family. They want to create memories with their families or friends or coworkers, whatever it may be. And so we try to provide something for everyone. If you're a baseball guy or baseball gal, you're good.
Yeah.
Just by the fact that we stripe the lines and the play starts, at first pitch, you're happy, you're taken care of. But the other people, they want to come out to a beautiful, clean, refreshing ballpark that's affordable, and they can bring their families out and make those memories. And so that's the beauty of minor league baseball. We try to provide entertainment, a great entertainment experience for everyone, no matter what your tastes are in baseball or not baseball. I tell people all the time, if someone says, I'm not really a baseball fan, I said, that's okay. You're our perfect customer.
Yeah, right.
You are what we want at the ballpark, because I guarantee you come out here once and you're going to be a lifelong fan.
It's also about having really cool merch. Now, of all the mascots out there, Ruckus really brings the ruckus to the ballpark. But we talked about how thoughtful it was, the design of Ruckus, and how Tony knew going in how important the mascot would be as the face of the team to the community.
Well, a lot of it starts with your mascot. I mean, that's why we spent so much time and energy working on our mascot, because he is the face of the organization, right? I mean, there's Tony Ensor, I'm the president and general manager, but Ruckus is the face of the organization. So wherever we go, Ruckus goes. The things that you mentioned, as far as we had a tornado up in Pampa a couple of years ago, some severe storms, some smoke, I'm sorry, not smoke, but fires. And so we run towards those opportunities to help our community, because that's what people see us as. We are a ambassador of this community, and people will rally behind things that we're doing. So we use our brand, our name, and the great brand that we've created here to rally people around supporting a certain cause. That's our role. That's what we have to do. That's our responsibility in this community, to seek out those people. We have so many local charities that we're involved with, that we go out, and whether it be jersey auctions, we're raising funds, or we bring partners involved and do an event for those charities. It's our role to go to those places and raise their awareness and bring revenue into them using our brand, using our players, using our mascot. Ruckus makes 179 appearances outside of Hodgetown every single year, whether it's birthdays or promotions or weddings or charitable events, walks, runs. He's everywhere, and he is the face. And so we use him as our tool to be able to go out to the community and say, we're here to help. What can we do?
When a kid sees Ruckus, it's over. They're in.
Or adults. It's not just kids. When adults, you'd be surprised at the reaction we get from adults when Ruckus walks in. In fact, we knew it was so important for Ruckus. You know, when we built this out in 2019, Ruckus was part of that brand. We actually took 3 names to the school kids and had them choose what they wanted to be the mascot's name, and Ruckus is what they came up with. But we actually, instead of going to Acme mascot company or another uniform company to build out and design our mascot, we knew it was so important to the brand of Sod Poodles. We went to the same company that builds Disney characters.
Oh, great.
Yes, and they built the uniform, and we went through so many iterations with our brand design company and with the mascot company that, I mean, that's why you see Ruckus and you look at him and he looks like a Disney character. I could get in it. Well, I'd say you or I could get in it, and we have a professional mascot. We're one of only 10 teams in the country to employ a full-time mascot. That's all he does.
Oh.
He's a mascot employed year-round full-time because of that commitment to the community and what he means to the community, through extension by what he does, the Sod Poodles mean to the community. So we spent a lot of time, a lot of detail going over that to make sure we created the perfect mascot. And I think, quite honestly, I'm a little bit of a homer, but he's been voted as the top mascot in the country for multiple years since 2019. So we're very proud of him and very proud of what he does out in the community and, by extension, the Sod Poodles.
Now, every minor league GM worth his or her salt will tell you the same thing. We don't really care who wins. We want you to have the experience where when you walk out, you don't even remember the score. And I believe them, and it's true, but it does help when your teams have been good, and Amarillo and their parent club have been very good.
Well, our community is a little bit different. We're like a large college town, so our fans love to compete. And this is Texas. We love to compete here in Texas. We're Amarillo. I look at Amarillo a little bit different. You know, I learned this through the last 7 years. We have a little chip on our shoulder here in Amarillo. You know, we're 5.5 hours from Dallas. We're 9 hours, 7.5 to 9 hours from San Antonio and Austin and Houston and all these places. We're 10 hours away because Texas is a huge state, right? But little Amarillo has been out here by itself on the plains for 150, 200 years, kind of doing its own thing. People here have had to depend on each other because we don't get all the things that, say, a Dallas, a Houston, San Antonio, or Austin get. So we've had to rely on each other. So I think that's driven a little bit of chip, and I love it because I've had a chip on my shoulder since I started in this game. I love that chip, and I love the pride that evokes in our fan base. So winning is important. We won in our first year in 2019, skipped a year or because 21 because of COVID, and every odd year we won in 23. This is another odd year in 25, so we're hopeful to have another championship here. And those things don't come around very often because my other teams in the past, in Chattanooga, we were 35 years between championships. In Birmingham, it was 10 to 12. In Colorado Springs, we're still waiting for a championship. Yeah. But the players make such a difference, and our community loves the fact, and it took them a while to understand it. When a Tatis comes down here or a Corbin Carroll, who played for us in 22, we were talking earlier, there are 10 former Sod Poodle players that have played here since we became a Diamondbacks affiliate in 2021 that are now playing in the big leagues today on that major league roster. Our fans love that. They look at these kids as their own kid, as their own boys, their own children, and they love to see that success. Now, they do hate it when all the good players go up, when they get promoted, but that's the role.
Yeah.
We play a role in developing young talent so that they can develop and grow into superstars and play at that next level, whether it be in Reno or going up to AAA. We've sent players directly from Amarillo to Phoenix to the major leagues, and we funnel a lot of players up to Reno. So winning is important here. Our fans enjoy, and it's not where you have to win every game, because that's not possible in our game. It's just basically, if you have a 550 winning percentage, chances are you got a great chance to make it in the playoffs. 600, you're guaranteed, right? So it's winning 6 out of every 10 games. It's not just that, but you have to compete.
The question I ask every single GM, and I will continue to ask every GM for the foreseeable future as long as we're doing this show. Treat me like I am a new fan off the street. What do you want my experience to be like as I walk out of the ballpark?
I want them to feel like they just experienced magic. That's what I feel every day at the ballpark. I feel magic. We call it the magic of Hodgetown. Whether it's on the field or whether it's in the stands with all the silly fun promotions we do or the fireworks show that we do, we want to have a sense of awe. That, wow, what an experience we just had. And you're right, whether we win or lose the game, we don't control that. As a minor league general manager, they don't ask me to see who's going to play first base or who the starting pitcher is going to be that night. And I often give them my suggestions, but they rarely listen to me. But for me and for my staff, we control everything outside the lines. The Diamondbacks control everything inside the lines, and Major League Baseball controls everything inside the lines. We don't have an impact on that. But what we can have an impact on is the experience that our fans who paid their hard-earned dollars to come out here and get to experience and have our best effort every single night, whether it's music, whether it's production, whether it's the promotions, whether it's the food and beverage, whether it's the cleanliness of the ballpark, whether it's the courteousness of our staff. That's what we control. That's what we can bat 1,000. It's too hard for our players to do that, but there's no reason why we can't put that kind of effort out there every single game and bat 1,000.
So I just want to thank Tony and the entire Amarillo Sod Poodles staff for opening up the ballpark to us. They really made us feel like part of the community. We had an amazing time and can't wait to get back.
Well, what are you asking me for?
I'm not asking you, I'm telling you, who is on first?
I'm asking you who's on first.
That's the man's name.
That's whose name?
Yes.
Well, go ahead and tell me.
Who?
The guy on first.
Who?
The first baseman.
Who is on first?
Have you got a first baseman on first?
Certainly.
Then who's playing first?
Absolutely.
Ballpark Nation presents Who's on First? We talk to the people behind the greatest game ever invented.
We're excited to welcome Cat Duguay to the show. She serves as vice president for the Abilene Flying Bison. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I am super excited to be here.
Yes. So tell me, how did someone with Chicago make their way to West Texas?
It's a great question, and I get that one a lot. So the owner of the team, George Lesmeister, him and I have worked together for the past 6 years now at this point. And it was with his nationwide company based in Indianapolis, which still begs the question, how did I even get with Indianapolis? But he ended up partnering with a company I used to work for and acquired me in the transfer of business. So we had worked together for several years, and he knew how big of a sports fan I was. He really enjoyed what I did with marketing and branding. And so when this opportunity arose in Abilene with the Flying Bison, he called me one day. And it's funny, we joke about, we know the exact day and time because we're like, it changed every single thing in our lives. But he's like, hey, would you maybe want to help me, do some stuff with this baseball team that I, kind of just got involved with in West Texas. And I'd never been to Texas before. I'm a New Yorker. That's where I was born and raised. So, but I immediately was like, yes, absolutely. I'm in. What do we need to do? And I actually spent that weekend doing research all weekend. So we just dove right in. And then, it went from help me a little bit to now I'm the vice president of the team. So it's so exciting.
So were you like a big shock with just the weather itself?
Yeah, a big shock with the weather. When I got down there for my first summer, which was not the one that just passed, the one prior, I left Chicago and it was about 50, 55 degrees in mid-May, which is pretty normal for us. And I got down there and it was no joke, 99 degrees. And I was like, and so then it was like living in an oven. But now I feel like I'm getting weirdly acclimated to it. It's pretty dry normally. And that's where like the humidity is what really takes a hold of me. So the dry heat isn't as bad, but it is like living in an oven under a magnifying glass.
Oh, yeah. And I have naturally curly hair. So it's like, what's the point of brushing it? I walk outside, it gets crazy curly.
Oh yeah, I joke that I do gremlin summer because I just like, focus on like working and stuff. And by the end, I'm like, I need to do everything to myself to make me look how I normally look.
Yeah, mine is my witch from Azkaban hair.
So funny.
So awesome, awesome. So can you explain a little more about the summer league baseball team there?
Yeah, 100%. So, the Abilene Flying Bison, we had our first season in 2024. So we just finished our second season. It's funny because when the owner, George, was explaining to me kind of the nature of a summer league team, I was like, I don't fully get it. So he's like, you need to watch this movie called Summer Catch with Freddie Prinze Jr.
I love her. Oh.
And he's like, you're going to understand everything at the end of that. And I did. And I was like, okay, I get it now. So, that was one thing, was understanding the nature of summer ball, which, hugely developmental league. The goal is for players to come and, leave feeling more prepared for ideally going into the majors. We use wood bats in the league, which is, a key difference between them and their colleges. So kind of gives them a little bit of a different experience. In Abilene with the Flying Bison, we also try to, encourage them to feel very independent. So one thing we do throughout the summer is they live in apartments instead of with host families, which the host family program is amazing. I've heard great things about it. But we do also want them to feel like they're gaining some independence and kind of learning how to like live on their own. And so that's something that we specifically do in Abilene. But, it's been the most amazing, 2-ish years so far with the team. The way Abilene has really just like welcomed this team into their homes. It's, from the get-go, we had people supporting us, buying our merchandise, wearing our stuff, coming to our events. And so, I don't think we could be happier with how it's gone so far in Abilene. It's a baseball town and they want baseball there. And they've just, really accepted us as, their new hometown team, which I love so much.
Love that. And how important is it that the players have a good time and spread positive word of mouth for the other college players?
Oh, I mean, that's really the goal here is on both sides, word of mouth referrals are the most compelling referrals, rather than, we could post about ourselves and say, hey, here's what we do. But having players talk about their experience from their point of view is what's going to have, people want to come with us. It's funny because we had this player who was with us the last 2 seasons named Riley Hood. And he's, the biggest Bison fan in the world. So we had a player come to us this past season who was like, oh, I came, partially because Riley Hood spoke so highly about, his time with the Bison and how much he enjoyed being with you guys. And so, not only do we want them to feel like they're leaving with more skills than before, but we want them to have fun. I mean, it's the summer, it's summer ball. It's serious because we want to win and play hard, but we also don't want them to feel like, that they had to suffer through the summer. So we try to make sure that it's fun for them, that they leave with like some cool stuff. We try to give our players cool stuff that they can wear on and off the field. And so, them leaving and having that great experience just for them to know like, maybe I'll try out summer ball again, especially if it's their first time. That's the number one goal. And then number 2 is them saying to their friends, like, hey, if you're going to play summer ball this season, you got to head down to Abilene. And that's what we've heard from quite a few people who've been with us. And like I said, that's the goal. And it just shows us we're doing something right.
I love that. And can you tell me more about, the process of introducing yourselves to the community?
Oh yeah, for sure. So and that's something that, I've really helped focus on. And, I had this thought a little bit at the beginning before I went down to Abilene that people would be like, how are you going to get someone to be in marketing who is not from Abilene? And I think that's a fair question. And so, that's something I personally really wanted to do when I got down there for the first time and when I've lived there is make sure people understand like, how am I going to, represent them, but also engage with them and make them feel seen and heard. And so, myself personally, I focus a lot on that and making sure that, I feel like I'm speaking from and for the people and really understanding, what they want and need from a baseball team. And then in general, the organization, we try to get involved in as many different community things as possible. So especially in the off season where today we have a couple of people and our mascot going to Oktoberfest. We'll do donations at schools or hospitals, just dropping stuff off, stopping and visiting with people donating, if people ask us to be sponsors of like the marching band, we're like, yeah, absolutely. Because, we don't want it to feel like we're just focused on sports also in Abilene. We want, every area of the community to know that, we want to be involved. We want to help, support, because we ask the same things of them, right? We want other businesses to sponsor us or to, come to games, and we want people to, spend their time and money with us. And so we want to give that back as well and show that this isn't a one-way relationship.
How important is it to reflect the rich history of baseball in Abilene?
Oh, well, I mean, it's something that from the get-go we knew that we had to definitely include in the new team. We did a name the team contest so we could, and eventually landed on the Flying Bison, and we're very happy that we did. But a lot of the recommendations for names were Prairie Dogs, which was a team that played most recently in Abilene. Excuse me, they played in the 90s, and then they came back for one season in 2012. And so a lot of people were telling us, like, I grew up with the Prairie Dogs. My grandparents would take me to games, and it's like such amazing memories. A lot of people are like, I still have like, merchandise or Beanie Babies. And I'm like, they made Beanie Babies. I'm like, I got to get back to that. And so we knew that, a lot of people had these really, really strong memories tied into the teams before us, even all the way back to the Blue Sox, which was, in kind of the 50s. So quite a while ago, but we had one person even say, I used to go to Blue Sox games with my grandparents, and they'd commented on our Facebook. And so, a little bit of that ties into the power of social media, even just hearing like, this person saw, some of the first baseball in Abilene. But there's just so much rich history. And, we didn't want to come in and be like, we didn't want people to think we thought we were the first baseball team in Abilene, even in the figurative way. We're like, we're here and suddenly baseball's here and we're changing everything. Because we wanted people to know that everyone that came before us is who helped us get to Abilene. They wanted baseball to come back so badly, and it's because they've had so much great baseball there. And not even just, professionally or with the minor leagues, also with their schools. There's a D1 school there. There's great baseball programs at Hardin-Simmons and McMurray University. And so we wanted to give a nod to those as well and acknowledge that, like, there's been people here before us. And so that's also why in the past 2 seasons we've played as throwback teams. So the first season we wore Blue Sox uniforms on Thursday, and people received that so well that we decided to really like triple down on it for season 2. And we were Prairie Dogs on Thursdays. We had specific uniforms. We were Prairie Dogs on the road. Like, I would only post that we're called the Prairie Dogs marketing wise. And so I always said I wanted to, try and convince people that the Bison didn't exist on Thursdays. And part of it is, fun. It's fun marketing and branding, and it gives us opportunity to do new stuff. But the other part is that, we wanted people to know, like, we hear you, we understand the, importance and the relation of previous teams to the community. And so that's our way kind of acknowledging that and honoring those teams. And again, having fun with uniforms and branding is just, it's one of the best parts of being part of a baseball team.
So what is something that you want the fans to take away from going to their first game?
How much we are invested in creating a great experience for them. And I feel like when I say that, it comes off a little selfish. Like, I don't want them to acknowledge that. I want them to feel that. I want them to see stuff and think like, okay, they've done this because they want us to have fun. They want us to understand what's going on, et cetera. Like I said, I have a friend down in Abilene who's like, I have never watched baseball before in my life, but I really liked what you guys were doing with like branding. So I was like, I might as well check them out. And now they're like coming to all the games. So I want, everyone to feel like there's something for them with the Flying Bison, whether that's you enjoying, some of the merchandise we make, the logos, et cetera, the colors, or because you're a big baseball fan and you love to see, like the gameplay. And we have had really strong players. So I think it's been very fun and competitive, and that's, really brought people there. But I want everyone to feel like they're the focus of the game. They're who we're targeting. And everyone having that same experience of like, wow, I think they really want me here. That's what I want people to feel, is that we want them there.
Ballpark Nation presents 5 Tool Territory, 5 good reasons to love baseball's hometown.
Here we are with 5 cool fun facts about Amarillo. Number 1, it's the Yellow City. Amarillo means yellow in Spanish, likely named for the yellow wildflowers and soil found in the region. Number 2, you can spray paint Cadillacs. Just west of town sits Cadillac Ranch, 10 vintage Cadillacs buried nose first in the ground. Visitors are encouraged to bring spray paint and leave their mark. In fact, I did that very thing. Number 3, it's home to the Grand Canyon of Texas. Palo Duro Canyon is the second largest canyon in the United States. It's 120 miles long and nearly 800 feet deep, and just right outside Amarillo. Number 4, the 72-ounce steak challenge. At the Big Tex Steak Ranch, if you can finish a 72-ounce steak plus sides in under an hour, the meal is free. Thousands have tried, far fewer have succeeded. If it reminds you of the movie The Great Outdoors and the old 96er, well, it should. And number 5, but it really should be number 1, the greatest country song of all time, Amarillo by Morning by George Strait, is a loving homage to this amazing city. So there you have it, 5 fun tips about the home of the Sod Poodles, Amarillo, Texas.
Ballpark Nation presents Raiders of the Lost Diamond, digging up the lost treasures of baseball's past.
Welcome to Ballpark Nation. I'm your host, Alyssia. On this week's Raiders of the Lost Diamond, Jim saddles up for the baseball story of Amarillo, Texas.
Oh, only the penitent man will pass. And a penitent man is humble before God. Does that count when you're talking about the baseball gods? Hey everybody, Indiana Jim Christopher here with another edition of Ballpark Nation's Raiders of the Lost Diamond. In this episode, we are going to hop into a car and then do the little dotted line thing with the music playing. It's swelling. The John Williams music is coming up as we head to Amarillo, Texas, currently home to your Sod Poodles, but home to so many teams in baseball's past. Now, Amarillo has seen so many organized teams in its history. You had teams like the Amarillo Gassers, the Amarillo Texans, some teams that didn't even have names, but the most prominent name up until the current iteration of the Sod Poodles were the Amarillo Gold Sox. And I think it's kind of a cool name because Amarillo, as we learned earlier in the episode, is Spanish for yellow. But yellow socks just kind of sounds like you peed down your leg, and I don't think that's the image you want to send to an opposing team and really strike fear in the heart of your opposition. Not only did Amarillo have a couple of different names for teams, but they also played in several different leagues. This happened all the time as leagues oftentimes would start up and fold, or teams would reorganize. It wasn't nearly as structured as it is today, which we can say what we want about Major League Baseball sort of taking over of the minor leagues. At least there seems to be some degree of stability in baseball when in the 20s and the 30s and the 40s, there really wasn't that at all. You saw Amarillo play in the Western League, the West Texas League, the West Texas New Mexican League, the Panhandle League. I mean, there were leagues. If you come up with a cool name, they basically would name a league after it. That's what they were doing. Amarillo also sought its share of independent ball. Independent minor league baseball is very different than affiliated minor league baseball. The players, for example, are paid by the parent club in affiliated ball, but in independent ball, they're paid by the team itself. It's obviously a much more strenuous financial model to run an indie club than it does to be the affiliate of a major league club. But you had independent teams like the Amarillo Dillos, and then you had a situation where you had the Amarillo Thunderheads, and then you had a team called the Air Hogs that was out of the Metroplex. Well, the teams kind of merged, and they played half their games in Amarillo, half their games in the Metroplex, and called themselves the Texas Air Hogs, which I do acknowledge is a pretty badass name. But you also had some pretty iconic players come through Amarillo. You had Tony Gwynn, Bob Roundtrip Cruz, who was one of the most iconic minor league players of all time. He's kind of like Crash Davis in real life. One year, he actually had 224 RBI in one season. You might notice that I pronounced RBI, the plural form, as RBI, because that's how you do it correctly. When you hear someone say RBI, it's just have them say that they don't understand how grammar works. But if you do even the shallowest of deep dives into the history of Amarillo baseball, you can see that there is a lot to lock onto, a lot to learn about, and you can also understand how thirsty the community was when the Sod Poodles were finally able to take the field. They missed baseball. It's such a part of their DNA, and if you look into the past of that community, it's not hard to see why.
And welcome to 5 Tool Territory, where we bring you some fun facts about baseball's hometown. This week we're visiting Abilene, Texas. Number 1, it's the storybook capital of Texas. Abilene proudly calls itself the storybook capital of Texas with larger-than-life children's book character sculptures scattered throughout downtown. Number 4, The West Comes Alive. Frontier Texas is an immersive museum that uses holograms and interactive exhibits to tell the story of the Old West on the Texas frontier. Number 3, Where the Buffalo Roam. Just south of town, Buffalo Gap Historic Village preserves 19th century buildings and gives visitors a look at early Texas settler life. Number 4, it's the home of some famous people. Celebrities such as Pantera drummer Vinnie Paul, musician Leroy Parnell, superstar Jessica Simpson, and Fess Parker, who famously played Texas legend Davy Crockett, all were born in Abilene, Texas. And number 5, Move-In Pictures. The beautifully restored Paramount Theater opened in 1930 and still hosts concerts, films, and events complete with vintage marquee glow. So there you have it, 5 cool things to check out whenever you're visiting the Abilene Flying Bison.
And that concludes our episode of Ballpark Nation. I'm Alyssia DeVetta,
I'm Jim Christopher.
and we'll see you at the ballpark.
Oh, it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game. Take me out to the ball game. Take me out with the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jacks. I don't care if I ever get back. Let me root for the home team. If they don't win, it's a shame. For it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the